First time I ever saw Scott was in this studio. He was sitting right where his father is sitting right now, and I was standing where Anna and Justin are standing because that used to be my former spot. And Scott came in to play the piano. And I remember thinking, I suck. This guy is so talented. You were like probably 14, 15, 16 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
And you were just, your voice was so mature at that time and so awesome. And then afterwards, Kelly and Al were like, yeah, Scott's been like that since forever.
Scott, he's like part of the family. I hope he grows up to marry Caroline Craddock someday.
Well, that didn't quite work out.
Connie, is this book a lot about Scott and raising kids and like a parenting book?
Yeah, the bulk of it is definitely about Scott and all the things he did to get where he was, and you guys were all a big part of that, and I write about you all in it.
Aww.
And but it's also parenting, and as far as I've been asked by a lot of parents who have talented kids, and they're like, what'd you do? What do we do? And I just, it has that, and then it also, when Scott came out to me, there's a whole chapter on that, and kind of the process that we went through and the mistakes I made, the right things I did, and I'm hoping it has insights for parents whose kids come out to them, kind of a path to take, versus a bad path.
And what's really inspiring about the book too is just like you can feel the love in the words.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much love like dripping in the book that like it's really, really inspiring in that way.
Scott, coming out to your parents, a lot of kids in the community talk about this. It's scary. It's scary to come out to your friends. It's scary to come out to your parents. Were you scared?
I was terrified. Yeah.
You were?
You know what's scary about it is like, people love you.
Yeah.
But no one knows your biggest secret. So you don't know for sure if anyone loves the truest you. So you kind of have this loneliness. That's the hardest part about being in the closet. And so my parents never gave me any inkling that they wouldn't love me if I came out, but still you just never know. So I was so scared, but it was just gnawing at me all the time that I finally just said it. I didn't even plan to. I just like said it in the car and I was like, whoa, we did it.
You just blurted it out?
So yes, I'm driving 75 miles an hour and he's telling me he's
like,
gay.
now's a good time while you're operating a motor vehicle.
On the on-ramp of 75.
Is it scarier, though, coming out to your mom or your dad? Or did you do it both at once?
I just came out to my mom first and then my dad. And I would say my mom just because she was first. I was like, because I was so, you think about it for a decade. And so saying the words was just like, it was a wild thing.
It's kind of normal for kids to dip their toe when saying something or asking for anything to mom. You kind of dip your toe with mom and then you guys kind of work on things. How was your reaction, Connie, when that ride was taking place?
Well, he was very upset. And so, and I'm, like I said, I'm driving and I'm thinking, okay, and trying. He always had girlfriends. I think he and Caroline did date.
He was a player.
Caroline and I would like act out Chicago. The movie.
I get to be Roxy Hart this time. No, I get to be Roxy Hart.
I was Velma last time. I was like, they're in love.
Oh man.
But I did just start to think, okay, I got to say the right thing here, and I just said, Scott, I love you so much. This, my love's not conditional.
Right. That's
and
good. Yeah.
So, it's okay. We'll let's work through it together.
Figure it out.
And that was such a crucial moment in my life too, because that's like all you want to hear in that moment is that you're loved.
Yeah.
So,
You want affirmation.
Mom.
And very lucky and very privileged to have that kind of encounter with your mom, because we've met a lot of people in the community that those parents weren't as welcoming, kicked him out, and they don't even speak to him anymore. Right. And so what you did, you changed. You were such a good light for your son in that moment, and thank you so much for doing that. That's awesome.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. I mean, there was just no other. I wouldn't have responded any other way.
Yeah.
And because he was a great kid, and our family's so close, and I have heard of those situations where parents kick them out, and I'm just befuddled by that.
Like,
I'm
how could you do that?
How can you do that?
And I think that you like loving me so unconditionally too gave me like the ability to be resilient and pursue my dreams and find love and find a husband. And I feel like I'm thriving now, and it all like kind of stems from that unconditional love.
And you talk about that in your foreword, which is so beautifully written, by the way.
Thank you.
I teared up reading it.
Aww.
Like, how did you even find the words to write the foreword of like your mom's book?
Oh my gosh. You know, I was like, I had some practice with my vows to my husband in my wedding. I was like, I'm just going to literally write everything I'm thinking and just be as authentic as possible, and then I'll organize it later. And so I did the same thing with this foreword. I was like, what has my mom done for me in life? And like, what have I learned over the years? And I just kind of just word vomited it on the page.
Right,
Well-
and you know it's good when you're bawling while you're writing.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know, like, oh damn, I'm
The
good.
page is soaking. You're like, okay.
This is literally one chapter of the book because there's so much more to your story than
Right,
just coming
right.
out to your mother, right?
Right. Oh,
So
yeah.
now you're having to go back into the memory bank and pull out the stories from childhood. But are
Yes.
there ever stories that you two remember completely differently?
Ooh.
Because I swear I've gone to my mom and I said, this happened. No, it didn't. And we've gotten into
Yeah.
fights because we remember the same story so completely differently.
That's such a good question.
Yeah, I know as I was writing it, I would say, okay, I'm 3 chapters in, and I would send it to all the kids. We were all hooked up Google Drive or whatever,
Yeah.
and I said, please read, you know, any changes, anything wrong, just
Might
let
have
me
you.
know. And there wasn't much wrong. I mean, I really felt like I had a pretty good memory of things.
One of the memories I was like, you have to put in the book because it was one of my first memories ever in preschool. I would sing all the time, and I was always belting, and the teacher was like, "If you make one more sound, you're gonna pay for it." And of course, I was like, "Beep, oh no!"
Yeah, that's not the most beautiful riff ever.
Yeah.
And she called me up to the front of the class, took out duct tape,
No.
put it over
Taped
my
your
mouth,
mouth?
taped my mouth shut,
Oh.
and then put me in a cubby.
Oh,
Like
no,
a
not in a cubby.
locker. Yeah, and I was there for like an hour. And my mom only found out because one of the other kids, I was scared I was going to get in trouble, so I
You didn't say
did
nothing.
not say anything. But then one of the kids in the class told their mom, who told my mom. My mom drove up to the school.
Yeah.
Stomping in there.
By the way,
Oh.
Connie looks like the nicest person in the world, but I'm sure at that moment you're like, I will fight somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Put my son in a cubby hole.
Yeah, I can only imagine the rage you must have felt that they
Well,
did that
now
to
let's
Scott.
talk about how the Kid Craddock Morning Show discovered you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
we were
No.
talking about this, Scott.
Best memories.
Do we have a part in Pentatonix?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, good.
The whole reason Pentatonix exists is because we entered a contest at this radio station.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Clip all
Okay.
this, all right? Get ready to clip all this, whoever's taping.
But I just found out news that I did not know
Okay.
the whole time being in Pentatonix, that I submitted it too late.
Yeah, you
I
were
thought
late.
it was a conflict of interest because I had done like 4 other contests with you guys.
Right.
But no, I just missed it.
And you had won quite a bit. This was to meet the cast of Glee, and Scott did have a relationship with our show, and I do remember you did come in a little bit late, but Kid said, no, we got to include this. This is
'Cause it's
so good. And it was that you guys' first performance as Pentatonix?
That was our first performance as a trio, 3 of us in Pentatonix, and that was our audition song for the sing-off. That's how it all started.
Whoa.
I think
Whoa,
there's
dude.
another book that should be written called The Untold Story of How Kid Craddock Morning Show was a part of the start of Pentatonix.
Connie did us right. She writes about it.
Oh, yeah.
She writes
Yes,
about it.
and I write that in the book.
Are we chapter
There's
6?
Yeah, chapter 6, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good
Chapter
chapter.
six.
Great chapter.
Right before the good
That's
chapter.
Have you since then met the cast of Glee?
I have met a few of them, like at different times at like events and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can Leah Michelle read?
I have no
Bro.
idea.
She just proved it.
I've never
She
met
just
Leah
proved
Michelle.
it.
We did fully think that one season you would pop up on Glee. I think we talked about this on the show before. Like, we wouldn't be surprised if Scott ended up on Glee.